Welcome to this video, another exciting one. One person that leaves a comment on this video is going to win this single Pilot Metropolitan pen. There's one, there will be one winner. Everyone that leaves a comment will be qualified to win this pen. And I'm going to tell you why I want to do this and why I'm doing it again. Now, before we get started looking at this pen, I'm going to tell you that what I want you to do when you leave a comment to qualify to win this pen is to tell me whether or not you write me a letter. I haven't heard from you forever. Take this pen, get you some paper, I'll give you my post office box, write me a letter. It's not such a hard thing to do, and that's what I want to talk about. Fountain pens and what we should do with them. The Pilot Metropolitan. Let me tell you the story behind this pen and why we're doing a giveaway and why it's important to me. There's two sides of this pen that make it very important to me to do for this giveaway. This is the box. If you win this pen, and there's one pen, there'll be one winner. This is the box you'll be receiving in a week. I will end this giveaway 1 week from today. Here's the story. When I first became interested in fountain pens, the pens that were for sale at the local stationery store were much too expensive. I couldn't justify it. I was just learning to write with my right hand and develop my handwriting. I really wanted a fountain pen, but I couldn't justify spending what would cost me to go in one of these stores. So of course I looked on the internet and I found these Pilot fountain pens for a very reasonable price. And this is what you'll get. So here's the outside cardboard box. Ooh, isn't that nice? You take that away. This is the little case. See, it's got an ink cartridge in there. And that's the pen. It's gray. So that's what I did. When I ordered my very first fountain pen, I found the Metropolitan online and I ordered one. And I have loved it. It's been one of the pens that I use in rotation very frequently. And you'll have the same experience. If you've already got fountain pens, you'll still like having another Metropolitan. I'll bet you have one if you're a fountain pen person. But this one's gray and it has the little houndstooth design right there. So here's what's special about this one. So that's the first side that I want you to have the same experience I had when I started to develop an interest in fountain pens. I got the Metropolitan. Here's the Pilot Metropolitan that you're going to receive if you win. You take it out, and there's a cartridge. Ooh, it's so nice. They make a pretty big cartridge. And when you run out of ink on that, just order more cartridges, or well, this has a converter in it, and you can get a bottle of ink and fill it. So it snaps off, watch this, ding, doesn't thread off. And there's the pen. Of course it posts, and you can post it if you want. Sometimes I post my Metropolitan, sometimes I don't. And we'll set that aside, but you can write with it. See, look, holding it with my left hand. It'll fit in your hand just fine. And this one has its own proprietary converter. It's the little rubber squishy one. See that? And you can get a different converter if you want. But you squish that and put it in a bottle of ink and squish it, and it sucks the ink up into it. So that's the converter that comes with the Metropolitan. Kind of fun. But the most important thing this pen has that matters to me, that I want to share with you, is a stub nib. It's got a stub nib. Now it's not a scary stub nib, it's just a 1 millimeter 1.0 stub nib. And look at that. Isn't that pretty? So you're going to write me a letter with this pen when you get it. If you win, that's what you're going to leave me a promise in the comments that you'll write old Daryl a letter, because he sits there, goes to his post office box all the time, and nobody writes me a letter. So you're going to win by promising him the comments to write me a letter. And the one of you who wins this pen will have a beautiful gray Pilot Metropolitan to begin your collection or to add to your collection. It's a cigar-shaped pen. That's what they call this style. And fits nicely in your shirt pocket. So, share a little story about this pen. You know, it's not an expensive pen, but it's metal, and you'll find that it has some weight to it and feels sturdy. And so, a couple of years ago, I did a book signing at a cafe because I wrote a book, written a couple of books, and they asked me to come and do a book signing. And I've got some fancy pens in my collection, but I just felt sentimental that morning, and I grabbed my Metropolitan and put it in my shirt pocket and went to the book signing. And I gave a little story about my book and how I came to write it and what it means to me, what's the story behind the story kind of thing. And when I got done and I was ready to sign copies of the book, there weren't very many people, but there were a few people who were just sitting in this little cafe. I pulled out my Metropolitan and uncapped it and started to sign books. And people went, "Ooh, that's a fancy pen. Oh, look, you've got one of those fancy kind of old-fashioned pens that you're signing books with." Fountain pen. And just my very first fountain pen, my Metropolitan. And I signed books at the book signing. But it has a fine nib. It doesn't have a stub nib. So you're going to write a letter with this stub nib. Now, what difference will the stub nib make? Here's the difference it'll make. It gives you a little bit of it gives you line variation. So the downstroke is thick and the cross strokes are thinner. Looks a little bit like calligraphy. It's not a calligraphy pen. It's not actual calligraphy unless you know how to write calligraphy. But it gives you that variation that makes the handwriting look fancy. And that's what you're going to do with this stub nib Metropolitan. So you have to be subscribed to the channel, and you have to leave a comment about why you would write me a letter and what you'd say. Because gosh, I miss hearing from you. Isn't that enough? I'd like to hear from you. Good gravy. Would it be that hard? Does it cost you that much to drop me a line? Ease my misery and my loneliness with your new Metropolitan stub nib fountain pen. Fun. I hope you win it. I really do. I'm pulling for you. One pen, one winner. That's what we're gonna have. Just want to be clear. Week from today, we'll find out who it is. Won't that be fun? And we're gonna have an unusual giveaway coming up. I had somebody ask if I could include their product in my giveaways, and I'm gonna do that. And then I have two other things that I decided I want to include in the giveaways. So there's gonna be giveaways coming up. You need to stay tuned. Hey, have a great day.